This is a goodbye to this room. This is a goodbye to this home. For now, it is a thank you. My gratitude extends itself right now in this moment. It embraces everything that has been given and received here. I'm grateful. I'm hopeful. I can't wait. I can't wait. Let's see what's going to happen. See what's going to happen. I'm excited to share it with you. What's up, everybody? It is me, Taylor Knighton. It has been a long time since you've seen me just face to face, just talking to you. It's been a long time since I've done this. And we're starting season 2. And I think season 2 is starting, 2 years later? Better late than never is what they say. And we're starting season 2 because I have just moved to England. I have just moved to Brighton, England. And boy, oh boy, do I have a testimony. God has been so good to me. God has been so good to me. I am night 1. Literally, I've been in this country for less than 24 hours. I just got cozy so that I could share my testimony, which I've been sitting on for a few months because it's still developing. But I do have a story that I need to share with you all. And I would like to call this When the Lord Says Move. So I don't know, I can't remember how much I've talked about my work life in the last season. I don't think very much. And so much has happened since we last connected. So much has happened. You know, I had changed roles. I was in a relationship, then out of a relationship. I had grown a lot mentally, but obviously not without some shortcomings and some falling, not without some experiences and having to learn. But I want to talk to you about this move and the leading up to because I believe it's a testimony that is just too good to be saved and kept within me. I would like to say that if I get the timing right, around the end of May, but even before the end of May, I was already thinking about leaving my parents' home. So I had been living at home for maybe the last quite a few years. And, as an adult, someone who is now 31, that can be hard and that comes with its own like mental judgments and mental, wanting to be out, but doing what's right financially and saving and making sure you're not moving too quickly or too abruptly just to look a certain way. But I had been, I saved quite a bit of money. Um, and I had just felt this moving that it was time to start planning, time to go. So many things were happening transitionally within me. Like I said, I had left a relationship and I felt it was time that the Lord was saying to me that old things had to be left behind. So it wasn't just the relationship that the Lord wanted to move me away from, but it also was some deep inner childhood wounds that had not been addressed outwardly. I think for a long time I had dealt with a lot internally, dealt with a lot of comparison, negative self talk, hard things. And I had felt the Lord shifting me as I grew closer to Him and as my relationship was just growing with Him. I just knew that a shifting was coming. And so things were happening, and maybe I'll share that testimony in and of itself at another time. But things were happening for me that I could heal some of these inner wounds that I was dealing with. And so I had a major breakthrough with those wounds, and I kind of knew that there was something, not necessarily a blessing to be attached to it, but I knew that there was progress that was going to be made. And so I had this inclination to move. I began to look at apartments, and I was looking in Union County, Essex County, New Jersey, just like getting feelers out, looking, what's my style? What do I like? And I was almost like making this, feeling like I needed to make the move quickly. I had found an apartment. I found a place that I liked. And it got to the place where I was ready to sign a lease. Once that was about to happen, I had this pause feeling. I just had this feeling, this inclination to be like, you know what? Even though I know that I want to move, maybe I'm not moving in the right, maybe I'm not moving to the right place. Maybe I'm not moving in the right direction. And I just had this overwhelming feeling not to sign the lease that I was going to sign for the apartment that I liked. And I also had this overwhelming feeling that I knew that I needed to pray to invite the Lord into my plans. So one night, I literally, how I pray at the end of the evening when I'm super focused is I get on my hands and knees and I just said, Lord, where do you want me to be? I've made all these plans. I haven't asked you about them. I haven't included you. Where do you envision my life? Where do you see me? And I left it at that. Well, the Lord didn't leave it at that, because the very next day, I would be talking to a colleague who randomly would plant a seed within me out of the blue, nowhere. Like we weren't talking about anything specific. She just randomly says to me, you know what I wish I would have did before I had my child and before I got married? I would have worked or studied abroad. Seed, tiny little seed. I had always seen myself doing something like that. But I think that as you get older, sometimes you stop dreaming about those kinds of big jumps and you start seeing yourself in this smaller world. So when I had heard her said it, I didn't immediately react, but I definitely said, that's interesting. I can recall times with my sister where, like, when we were kids, all we did was like watch Mary Kate and Ashley movies where all their movies were like them when in Rome and going to Paris and like doing all these things, like traveling and then also trying to build a career. Um, and so when she said it, it just was this tiny seed. Then from there, it didn't leave me. And I'm working at a company that I love. I won't disclose, but I'm working at a company that I love, that I feel like I've built a good reputation at. I've built up some great relationships. And I know that we have different avenues and we have different locations all over the world. So I look in my database, the company database, and the first place that I thought was the UK, because I said, I don't speak any other language besides English yet. And so if I was going to go anywhere, it would need to be a place that was predominantly English speaking. So I look in the UK. We have 3 offices in the UK. So I look, I see that there is a role open, and then I see the hiring manager. And I notice that the hiring manager is the EA. She's running the role. And so before I do anything brash, like, reach out, I don't do anything yet. I kind of see it, I leave it. And I said, that's kind of cool. Leave it alone. Maybe a day or two later, it just didn't escape me. It's like 9 p.m. I go back in the database, I see the role posted, but this time I'm paying extra close attention to the details and I see that the role posting is going to close the next day. So if I was going to do anything about it, I would need to do it fast. If I was going to do anything about it, I would need to act on it. This thing wouldn't escape me, but I had to act on it. And so I reach out to the hiring manager and I give her a spiel like, hey, would the boss that I would be supporting, would she be interested in a candidate that's abroad? Just put my feelers out. I get a response the next day and it's like, I actually don't know. She says to me she doesn't know, but we could find out. And in the meantime, let's talk about the role. So I talked about the role with her. It sounded great. All of these amazing things. And it definitely, the way that she described the leader made me feel like this could make sense. And so now I'm growing in excitement. And knowing that the role posting was going to close, I knew that I was going to apply for the role, regardless if there were going to be limitations on whether I could get this role or not. Now, here's a caveat. My company, and I'm sure most corporate companies, don't necessarily sponsor EAs. I'm an executive assistant. Don't sponsor us to move across the country for a role. It's just not a thing that they do. It's not a thing that has been done. It's not a thing that has been seen, not for our band level, not for the role in which I'm in. So VPs, senior VPs, like, important people get sponsored to move across country. Important people get sponsored to go. I apply for the role. HR reaches out to me. They're like, yeah, we're qualified, but how would you be able to do this because we can't sponsor you? They essentially write me back and tell me no. Something told me that wasn't going to really be the answer for me. So I continued, and I reached out to the leader herself. I reached out to her and I sent her a very, very convincing note. At this point, I knew that I wanted the role. I knew that I would be good at it. And I wanted an opportunity to be free, to be seen, to be different. And I wanted to fight for this because I saw so much joy, hope, future, so much excitement, so much adventure. I saw so much in this role, not only because I knew that I would be good at it, but because it would give me a lifestyle change and one that I believed that I was ready for. So I had understood that this leader that I had reached out to was on PTO, which is why we didn't know whether or not I would be even a suitable candidate because of the move and because of the hoops that would needed to be jumped through for me to get the role. Well, I sent her the note, I want to say on a Thursday or a Friday. And she reaches back to me on Saturday and, without tooting my own horn, essentially is excited to invite me into her interviewing process. Now, she understood that hiring someone like me would mean that there might be some hoops to go around, to jump through, because this hasn't happened before. But she, in that moment, in her response in her note to me, said, essentially, without saying verbatim, because I like the way you're approaching this, let's see what we can do. Jump in. So, find out that I'm getting interviewed. With that said, I knew that I was going to be up against a lot of competition. And I also knew that I would need to stand out, not just by my note that was convincing, but also by, you know, me understanding how the company works, by the relationships in which I've built. And so I had 3 letters of recommendation sent to this leader, and very strong letters of recommendation. People who I knew would be impressive to her, that would be able to vouch for me and say that I was worth this move. I was worth this hardship, or the hoop to jump through. I was worth it. Before we get to the before we get to the part where I get hired, I have to remember the part also where it was originally posted as an executive assistant role, right? That's what I do now. That was the role that I had transitioning into this role. It was originally posted as that. But within the process, it got reposted as a senior executive assistant role, which I didn't have any context for. Now, I had a first round interview and then I had a second round interview. And right before my third round interview, which would be with this leader, I would then have context. I would get context as to why this role was posted as a promotion, as a band 30 role. And that was because the leader who I would be supporting, she herself had recently gotten promoted. So basically, I was applying for this role. When I first saw it, I had no idea that it was going to be the role that it turned into, which was a promotion for me. Still prepared for it, still wanting to do it, still very capable of doing it. But that was a blessing in disguise. And the way that the Lord orchestrated my footsteps, the way that after I prayed, he planted a seed. He used a friend, a distant friend, someone not even that close, to just plant a seed within me. And that seed led me to one, having to show up for myself and really, really believe in myself, to have no self doubt and to be strong about who I am and what I was capable of. And then he showed up for me by making it a promotion as well. I thought I was just going into a lateral move, but no, it ended up being a promotion. Now, obviously, after round three, I was picked. I was the candidate that was picked and offered the job. But then, of course, God is so good because he knows me so well. He understands that I am the type of person that when something like this happens, it will be very easy for me to try to give myself all the credit for what had been done. All these things in which the Lord wanted me to do, because faith without works is dead. So yes, I had to action things in order to get this very, very beautiful blessing. However, to put the cherry on the cake, and there are so many more things that have happened in between this that very much let me know that the Lord was leading my footsteps. Whether it be scriptures, whether it be sermon, whether it be my pastor at church, and then the dunamis power prayer that we had at Agave Family Worship Center, like so many things that would confirm that this was the road that I should take. But the thing that would put the icing on the cake was the visa process. I get offered the role. Very excited, very happy. And when I'm offered the role, I'm told, my team, my leader, my current leader now, who I'm going to be supporting, says to me, my team's going to reach out to you. There's going to be things we have to do that are different than we do in other circumstances, in normal circumstances. Day one went by, I heard nothing. Day two went by, I hear nothing. Day three went by, nothing. 4 days go by, and now I'm getting concerned. What's going on? Soon, I would see in my YouTube feed, because at this point, I have already looked in type A personality. I've already looked into like culture differences and like apartments, and my YouTube feed is flooded with how to live in England, how to live in Brighton, like all the things. On day 4, I had heard nothing from my leader's team, and I would see on a YouTube video that England had changed their immigration laws, and they had changed the skilled worker visa, which of course was the visa that I would be going for. The law essentially would affect assistants and people who do the kind of work that I do, and how they would be able to come into the country, if they would be able to come into the country and get approved. That was effective early July. And they gave people who were under these visas or applying for these visas a deadline to essentially get approved for them. But after that deadline, it would be very likely that they would not succeed. And even if they made the deadline, it would still be under question if they could get the role. So, of course, I now have to have a different level of faith. I hear from my leader's team. I could hear, the fear, but they decided to press through anyways. They decided to say, yeah, we know that this law is changing. However, we're still going to see what we can do. We're still going to try to get you this role. And then met with another roadblock, met with the fact that the system in which I would use to apply to the role would be on a power outage, or would be on an outage for 5 days, which would shorten even further the chance that I had to get my information in properly and to get it in entirely. a challenge. I was very much in this time, my mindset was focused on trusting in the Lord because I knew that He wouldn't have me say a prayer, then answer it the next day, and then plant the seed in me to then get me the job, to then not really get me the job. I knew that my God was not cruel. I knew that He wasn't cruel. And so I knew that it was my job, no matter how hard this situation looked, to trust the process. So many lessons in this, in which I hope you guys are picking up, and which I hope you guys are understanding. But this final part, which made the reason why this is the cherry on the top, cherry on the cake, is because the Lord was essentially telling me that when I give you a blessing, I open up doors that no man can shut. I don't care if the government tries to get in the way. What I say is what is. That's what the Lord was saying to me. And in this time frame, all of this is happening within the time frame of like a month and a half, 2 months. My faith as I'm walking through this process is deepening and deepening and deepening because what? I have no choice but to trust that the Lord is going to come through for me. And guess what? He came through for me, but not easily. At least to me, it didn't look easily. He already knew what the plan was. But for me, I very much was trusting, but then having mental gymnastics because, to our limited thinking, we think like when the government is involved, it's like, at least for me, I'm like, the government's involved. Oh, this could totally change the dynamic. And the Lord was like, no, I'm opening this door. No man can shut it. No government, no system. It is done. It is done. And I share all of this because I need to walk you through the lessons and I need to walk you through what was learned. And I need to walk you through the fact that what God has for you is for you. And when it is your time, it just simply is your time. And there is nothing that no man, no person, no system can do to change that. As someone who has suffered from self-esteem issues young, this challenge of getting this door to open and working with the Lord, working with Him side by side, trusting Him to do His part while I do my part. I had just expanded and opened up in a way that I had never imagined that I could be or get to. And He trusted me with this. It's nice to be trusted with something from the Lord. It's nice to know that He believes that I'm going to act this out with Him, that I'm going to do this out with Him. So many beautiful things that had happened. But the truth of the matter is, one of the first lessons is that you have to have ears to hear. And how do you have ears to hear? You pray. You talk to the Lord daily. You read. You read your Bible so that you know the word. One of the scriptures that I had to keep close to me that my sister helped me with is Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope in a future. These are things that I had to trust in while I was going through this process. And then I had to trust that the Lord would see it all the way through from beginning to end. So much is about to happen for me because I believe that this is just the top. And yes, I am mad. I am adventurous. I am excited. I am someone who would move my entire life because the Lord told me to do so. I feel particularly called to this place. And I'm excited for that. In whatever capacity the Lord wants to use me, I'm here because He called me to this place. And I want to encourage you all to not give up. Do not give up on what you feel the Lord has for you, because The truth is, it's probably just around the corner. Listen, stay focused. Now, what I would like to do is have you look and watch at my reflective time because it's been busy. It's been a whirlwind. Things did move very quickly, and I was in a position where I could pick up my life and move quickly. But I would like for you guys to hear my reflections on the last day in my parents' home. Really strong feelings, really strong emotions, really powerful. Um, I'm excited for this next chapter. I would love for you guys to see what's going to continue to happen, and I'm going to continue to share in the best way that I can and to continue to dissect this. I feel like in this moment I'm giving you a overall gist, but there is more to be said about the lessons in the overall of what's happening. There's more to be said and more to be specified because I don't want this to be missed. There's somebody who needs encouragement. There's somebody who disbelieves or just has unbelief in the Lord. This, I hope, encourages you to know that He can do anything. He can move mountains. I've got testimonies about, my experience with handling this and how I feel good. But then I've also have other testimonies about, the reactions that I've gotten from people. And that'll be another episode in and of itself. But I really want to share this journey with y'all, and I'm excited. So take a listen. And it's not just for me. It's not just for me. This is not isolated. I'm not special. He loves us the same. He loves us all. And it is our jobs to listen and be close and to be near. And He will do what He says He's going to do. I know that there is more to come for me in the coming days, in the coming months, in the coming years. I'm looking forward to that. So, soon. Talk to you soon. My baby is going out of here. Excited. Can't wait. Excited. New chapters. New chapters. God is awesome. He's amazing. Wow. I am leaving out on Tuesday, and this could be my last time living in this space. Now, I know better because this experience has taught me that you never know. You literally never know. But I do want to just embrace this space right now. Embrace this understanding that I am starting a new chapter that is very much undefined, that has so much exploration within it, so many new experiences to come, new places to see, new people to meet, new dynamics to understand. And right now, I just really want to take in this moment that I'm moving. I'm moving. When I think about this room in my parents' home that has become home, or that has been home, and has so much memories, so many feelings, so many experiences have been lived here, so many thoughts. I want to really take this time to embrace it. Like I won't be in this room for quite some time. I won't see this space anymore, this space that was a space of prayer, of peace, of refuge. This is the last time you all will see this background. There'll be a new background to come. I'm ready to embrace the new. I'm ready to begin again. I'm ready to see what God has for me. I'm ready to embrace it full force. I'm ready to break the odds, to defy disbelief of my own, of others. I'm ready for the challenges. I got to such a place, and I feel like I'm in such a place where my faith is strong. And I know that you could never have enough faith because you just never know. Life's. But I can say that I trust in my God who has led me and is leading me to a land of unknown for which he knows all things, and for which he has something great in store for me. So, this is a goodbye to this room. This is a goodbye to this home. For now, it is a thank you. It is a warm and tender embrace of all that is remembered. My gratitude extends itself right now in this moment. It embraces everything that has been given and received here. I'm grateful. I'm hopeful. I can't wait. I can't wait. Let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen. Let's see what's gonna happen. I'm excited to share it with you. Love this place, love this room. Next time.